Retrospect encourages us to reflect on our stories, our histories, and our past experiences as we uncover the wisdom that shapes our future possibilities.
Okay, I'm going to start with a little class participation, and I promise it won't be too painless, don't worry. I am going to ask that you all close your eyes for this section. I don't want you worrying about how people are answering these questions. But you should know, because I'm a therapist, I'm going to be analyzing your responses. Okay, close your eyes. Show of hands. Do any of you get stuck thinking about things that have happened in your past? Decisions that you've made, comments that you've made, the ones that still make you cringe today. Or maybe it's something deeper, like a regret you have, wishing you could go back in time and change it. Thank you. Now, does anyone spend a significant amount of time worrying about things that haven't happened yet? This could be an exam that's coming up later this week, or something as significant as what college you're going to attend, or who you're going to end up with. Okay, you can open your eyes. Spoiler, everyone raised their hands. Let me give you a quick personal example. When I was asked to give this speech, I was instantly overjoyed. And then almost immediately, my head filled with anxious thoughts. Am I the right person for this? I can think of so many other people more qualified than me. There's a reason I talk on the fly for a living. Can I even come up with anything meaningful to say? We are all guilty of getting in our heads and letting fear take over at times. From an evolutionary perspective, anxiety is a natural and necessary part of our lives. It was designed to help keep us safe from danger and threats, like actual lions and tigers and bears. That was a little nod to my mom, who's a big Wizard of Oz fan. Today, we react anxiously to stimulus that is not inherently dangerous. In my example, my thoughts made me anxious. I started comparing myself to others and stressing about something that hadn't even happened yet. In addition to our own anxious contributions today, we can also be triggered by things like a text message or social media and all of the excess of information that's out there. Inevitably, we've all heard about the rising rates in mental health in teenagers. Over the last few years, rates have skyrocketed. These statistics can be both a comfort and a concern. A comfort because it means more people are being honest and talking about it, and there's power in numbers. It means you're not alone. But that brings us back to the concern. Why is this happening, and how do we change it? I don't have all the answers, and I certainly won't pretend to, but I do know a tried and true method to help you combat anxiety and depression. Not only because I do this for a living, but because I've lived it. I work as a psychotherapist, and I have clients ranging from teenagers to those in their 40s. I see students, young adults, moms, families, and I listen to them talk about their worries and stressors all day long. No matter the client, I'm always intently listening to how they talk to themselves about themselves. When they're recounting examples from their past, are they beating themselves up? Are they dwelling on how they handled situations? Or worst case scenario, are their negative thoughts shifting into beliefs about themselves? A good example of this is one I heard just last week. I didn't get into my top college. Gosh, I'm such a failure. When hearing clients discuss their ruminations about the future, I'm trying to decipher their readiness for change. Are they identifying goals while also telling themselves it's essentially a lost cause? Do they believe that change is even possible? An example I hear all the time is, gosh, I've been trying so long to make this change happen. Why should I believe that this time is going to be different? When I was a freshman in college, I developed pretty significant anxiety. Anything I had experienced up until this point must have been mild or fleeting, because this was different. I had hated the major I'd chosen. My parents were going through a divorce, and simply put, college was just not living up to my expectations. I was a happy kid up until this point. I loved high school, and I believed everyone when they said, college is going to be the best 4 years of your life. But when my reality proved to be different, I didn't look at my circumstances and give myself some grace. Instead, I internalized the struggles I was having, and I believed it was my fault that I wasn't enjoying myself. I thought something must be wrong with me, because not just because I was having so much anxiety, but because I started behaving uncharacteristically. I started falling behind in school, withdrawing from social engagements, and not behaving like a typical college student should be. I didn't realize I was talking to myself this way, largely because I didn't have the skills yet, but also because I was keeping everything to myself. Anxiety can be inherently isolating. It's happening to you and only you. It's happening inside your body. And sometimes it's visible, but often it's not. And because it's not publicly witnessed most of the time, it can feel like you're the only one going through it. Especially way back, this is hard to say out loud, 20 years ago, when I was a freshman in college, mental health was still really stigmatized. And there certainly weren't celebrities and those in the public eye talking about their own experiences. I believed I was alone, and I believed something must be broken in me. And I started to fear that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish all the goals that I set out for myself. Eventually, this all changed, and I'll tell you why. I started to let people in. I started to seek support. I didn't want to suffer any longer, but I knew I needed some help. I started working with a therapist and processing my fears and learning how to listen to my thoughts. And you have to learn to listen to how you're talking to yourself. I think we all think we know what's going on in our heads at all times. I certainly thought so. But you have to learn to pay attention to the things you're telling yourself. When I ask my clients to start tracking their own thoughts, I often am met with a confused look. But I didn't realize how much I was limiting myself, how hard I was putting myself down, and by doing so, how much worse I was making myself feel. Now, the changes for me didn't happen overnight, but I started taking small steps to where I wanted to be. I started paying attention to my thoughts and also challenging them. I started listening to my body and implementing new routines. I sought an advisor, and I changed my major to psychology. My first major was business, and anyone that knows me today would laugh out loud if they heard that. When I reflect back, I wonder if I would have chosen psychology, and if I would have had the same draw to it. Because I went through challenges and hardship, I was drawn to understanding how my thoughts became so distorted and learning how to help others navigate the same experience. This experience gave me direction, and I decided I wanted to be in the field. Once I had a trajectory, I devoted so much time and energy into furthering my education and getting myself to where I wanted to be. Eventually, I landed at Columbia University for graduate school and got to fulfill my dream of living in New York City. I do want to make one point very clear, though. Just because I was able to learn how to manage my anxiety and alter my course back then does not mean that I'm done doing the work. In fact, my sister so lovingly suggested that I change the title of my speech to Tips for Anxiety from an Anxious Therapist. I still get triggered, and like the example I gave you earlier about my thoughts surrounding my speech, I still have to challenge my own fears and the thoughts associated with such. No, I don't always do it perfectly, and I still lean on quick fixes like doom scrolling or someone cover my husband's ears, online shopping. The most important difference between now and then is I no longer allow my thoughts to become negative beliefs about myself. I understand that through struggle and hardship and challenge, I will become stronger and I will grow. And I can do things like be here today and be proud when I walk off the stage and be proud to show my son when I inevitably force him to watch it one day. Our past imprints our future, but the work is done in the middle. If we continue to dwell on things that have already happened, or continue to ruminate about things that haven't happened yet, we stay stuck. There's no power in either of those places. The only power we have is in the present moment. So what I urge you to start doing is start paying attention to what you're telling yourself. Ask yourself, are these thoughts making me feel worse or better? And if they're based in the past, how can you use that context to inform your right now? If they're based in the future, try to shift those thoughts into goals. And then ask yourself, what can I do today to get to where I want to be? Your thoughts are powerful, but they are also not the law. You can rewrite them. You can reframe them into something more productive. And hopefully, eventually, you can start to express gratitude for how far you've come. Lastly, I encourage you all to seek support. It doesn't have to be with a therapist, although I think we're pretty great. But seek out a mentor, a parent, a friend, someone you can speak to honestly about what's going on. You don't have to suffer alone. The odds are, if you are, your thoughts are just going to get louder and stronger and more critical. And if you're unable to challenge your thoughts or don't know how to do it, let someone help you. Thank you.